Hey, what's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be going over a few more things on the 2.8 3.1 V6 performance upgrades. So I hope you enjoy. Alright, so I'm just going to go over the cylinder heads with you a little bit here. These basically require the same work. If you watch my 3400, 3100 home porting video, basically what we're going to do on these is the same idea. If you look in the intake ports here, you see they have the big rough ridge on them. They're even worse than the 3400s are. So we're going to clean all that up, and we'll be doing the same on the exhaust. So I'll just clean this one up real quick and give you an idea of what it would look like when it's done. But basically a lot of the same things I said in the last the home porting video for the 3400, 3100 cylinder heads. A lot of that applies to these heads as well. Alright, so I got that all blended up now where I want it. Transition's nice on the short turn. Basically I'm just doing a nice street set of heads here. Simple quick cleanup that you could do basically while you have the heads off on a weekend or something. So we're just doing that. Another area of improvement on these is in here at the guide. What we're going to do is basically just taper this down a little bit. Just kind of have the air funnel down towards the valve stem. Alright, so you can see how I got the guide narrowed down a little bit there. If you look at the airport beside, you can kind of see what we basically started with. Just got rid of that excess casting. Kind of made a little nicer taper to the guide. That'll help pick up the flow. Now we'll move on to the exhaust port. So the exhaust port, basically, like I said before, a lot of the same stuff from the last video applies to this cylinder head as well. Just going to go in, clean up around the valve seat, blend the bowl in. So all this stuff here. But one big thing we're going to do on this one is we have to narrow this chunk of aluminum around here. We need to bring that back quite a bit to get these to flow half decent. The exhaust ports on these heads are not nearly as nice as the 3400s or 3500s. They require quite a bit of work. I've spent way too much time trying to get these to flow in the past. So I'll show you the simple things you can do. Basically just gotta bring this back quite a bit. We're not taking the guide out or nothing, we're leaving the guides there. But we're just gonna narrow down the hunk of aluminum on the guide there, just to pick up the flow. Alright, so the exhaust port outlets, basically the same idea applies as the last video for the 3400 heads. We're not going to touch the floor, just going to try to pull this side over a little bit, raise the roof some. So basically that's all you got to do on the exhaust side to get these to flow a little better than stock. Doing that, and then that intake port, it will wake up this thing pretty good. So the next thing you do basically is shape the chambers just like I did on 3400 heads. Alright, so we got the chamber shaped up nicely there. It's basically the final product there. That's what you're starting with. Same here to here. Before, after. That's all I'm going to do with this one. I basically did a set of heads just doing similar port work to this on a friend of mine's Sunbird a long time ago. It was automatic 3.1. We did all this port work, milled the heads about 10 thou, did a 3-angle valve job, used the iron head gaskets, and he also was able to get his hands on the 62mm throttle body, so we had that on as well. He ended up running a 15.3 in that car, and stock the usually run between a 16.5 and a 16.3, so it was making quite a bit more power after. We didn't do the exhaust at that time yet either. I think we ended up doing the exhaust in the spring. But yeah, it gives you an idea of what kind of gains you can see out of this stuff. So another thing you can do, these are the valve springs that come on the 3.1, 2.8 liters. It's just a regular conventional spring. These are the 3100 springs. They're beehive shaped, as you can see. What that does is allows them to put out the same spring pressure as one of these, but at less weight. It's also better at controlling the harmonics at higher RPMs. Also, if you do go to use these springs on your 3.1, you'll need the retainers and the keepers, because it puts the valve stem at a different height than it does with these ones. These ones are a little more recessed than these ones. So next, what I'm going to be doing when I do Dave's cylinder heads for his Cavalier is we ordered a full set of 3500 valves. They are much lighter than these 3.1 valves. I got the exhaust valves as well. As you can see by the shape of them, it also helps with the flow. So when you do these 3500 valves, you will need to have the valve seats machined out to match the size of the valve. The 3500 valves are 1.76 inches, and the stock valves are 1.72 inches. So they're just a little bit bigger, which will help gain a little more airflow. And here's the next restriction in the line. It's the lower intake. It's basically one of the biggest reasons why nobody used the 3.1, because the intakes don't flow good at all. So this is Dave's 3.1 intake that he's going to be using. Years ago he sent it out and actually had it extrude honed. It's kind of hard to see. Can't see how it's all shiny all the way through. Same with that one there. Basically what the extrude hone process does, they fill the ports with this abrasive putty, and they basically hydraulically press it through the runners. And when that goes through the runners, it kind of polishes up the insides. But it doesn't take off a whole lot of material. It just basically cleans up what's there without doing it multiple times. So we're still going to clean up this a little bit more than what you see. Try to make it flow just a little bit better. The extrude hone will help, but some porting would help some more too. Alright, so I got the intake port on the lower intake cleaned up here a little bit. Sort of see on those ones there how high the injector boss is. All I did on this one was basically just kind of shorten it a little. Tried to profile it as much as I could. Just trying to get the air past the injector as best as we could. If you look at this one, it's fairly narrow. See right in here. I'll take all this out when I do this one. I am going to do quite a bit more to this one, but just a little bit will help if you're doing your heads. So just something to keep in mind. As for the plenum, I'll basically just go in, try to clean up some of these lumps, get rid of those. All we do is basically just do a little bit of work on the outlets of the plenum, and then we'll do some work on the inlet as well. Basically just match the inlet to the throttle body and kind of blend it all in. So just one more thing that's a good idea to maybe spend a little extra on is the camshaft. This is where you're going to pick up a lot more power. There's lots of companies that make cams for these engines. There's a Comp Cams, Melling, Isky Racing cams, Lenati, Edelbrock, Crauer. There might even be more. I believe there is a couple more that I'm probably forgetting. But they all have cams listed for the 2.8 and 3.1. Some of them even list them as the 3.4 for like the rear-wheel drive Ironhead 3.4s. They are basically all the same cams. Some of them list them as not computer friendly or not for use with computers or whatever, but I don't think they've tested a lot of them in the computer stuff. We've ran stuff in the past that's bigger than their recommended computer controlled cams and had no issues. So one more thing to take a look at that will increase the power out of your vehicle for not too much more money. The cams for these are reasonably priced. Alright, so that's going to be the end of this one. Hope you guys found this a little bit informative, and hopefully you guys can use it to squeeze a little more power out of your 3.1 or 2.8. If you like what you see here, make sure you share it with your buddies, and think about subscribing. We should have some more fun stuff coming up soon with these 3.1s. So thanks for watching, and we'll catch you in the next one.